Hi, I'm Al Davis from CurbThoseCravings.com, helping you to lose weight for the long term with whole foods, plant-based eating. Now, one of the things that you're going to need if you're going to do any of this kind of food preparation, which is needed for this way of eating, is you're going to need decent knives. I see so many people trying to do everything with a knife that's this big and usually quite dull. It will drive you crazy, you will decide you don't like cooking, and you'll get discouraged and quit and go off to do other things, whatever that happens to be. It doesn't have to be that way. There's several things you need. You need the proper knives, and you need the proper cutting board. This one here is 12 by 18. This one's made out of plastic. It doesn't have to be plastic. It could be wood or whatever other material is going to be suitable for you. Now, the other thing people do, which I think is a mistake, is they buy one of these big knife blocks with 7 to 12 knives in it for hundreds and hundreds of dollars. Now, most of those knives you will not need. Most of them will sit unused in that knife block. You just need some basic knives. One you need is the little paring knife right here, like I showed you that most people try to do everything with. Second thing you're going to need is a boning knife. This is you can use this as a larger version of the paring knife. We're not going to be preparing meat, but this is good for other purposes as well. And the third basic knife you're going to need is going to be a chef's knife. This is an 8-inch chef's knife, and it does pretty much anything you want to do. Now, I have another knife that I like better than this, which I find to be faster and safer, and that's the Chinese chef's knife. Now, people are sometimes afraid of these things because they look scary, and we've seen too many movies about people getting chased around the kitchens in Chinese restaurants with somebody chasing them with one of these things. But if you think about it, it's actually safer than this one right here, which has the sharper point. Compare them. Which is shorter? Which has a shorter blade? This one right here. Which is going to allow you to stay further away from the thing that you're cutting? It's going to be this one right here. But there's a learning curve. It'll take you using it for 3 or 4 days before you get comfortable with it. So if you're not interested, fine. You can certainly use the Chinese chef or use the French chef knife, which is what most people use. Now, those are the 4 basic knives that you need. I'm not suggesting you go out and spend hundreds of dollars on knives, although you can. Every one of those knives you saw, I bought secondhand, and I got it for a really good price. I paid $5 for this one. I paid $10 for this one. I paid a couple of bucks for this boning knife. And here's 4 paring knives. And this stuff is all Solingen steel, by the way. This is not cheap stuff. I paid somewhere between $0.25 and $1 for these. I got them all at yard sales. Now, why do I have 4 paring knives? Couldn't help myself. Now, there's other knives you can get too. This is a cleaver. This is what most people think of when they see this thing. These are 2 different tools. Look at the difference in thickness. The cleaver on the right, this is what the Asians use to chop up Peking duck and various kinds of bones. It's heavy because it gives a lot of weight. We're not going to be using this, but I wanted you to see the difference. Another thing you might like to have is a bread knife. This one I think cost me $1 at a yard sale. You have to make sure that they're sharp when you buy these things because you're not going to be able to sharpen these easily on your own. And the way you check for sharpness is you look at the edge. If it's not sharp, you're going to see some shininess on the edge, which is the roundingness of the edge. If there's none of that, it's going to be sharp. Do not run this through a regular knife sharpener, by the way. You'll ruin your knife. Another one you might like is this one here. I'll hold this up close. This looks like a tiny bread knife, but what this is for cutting apart frozen foods. Again, $1 at a yard sale. Another thing, it's a good thing to have on hand is an ice pick. There'll be uses for this, which I'll explain in later videos, but you can get these for next to nothing at yard sales. Make sure they're not rusty because they're very, very hard to clean. And sometimes you can get cool ones that say Coca-Cola on them. And don't think you got a major collectible, by the way. If it says Coca-Cola, they're not worth very much as a collectible. Here's another thing that's good for opening mangoes, believe it or not, is an oyster knife. I'll explain how to use that in a later video, but if you see one of these things, I'll hold it up close. If you see one of these things at a yard sale, pick it up. And if you have a mango you want to open, you can also use, instead of using this, just use your kitchen knife. So there you have it, Knives 101, everything you've always wanted to know about knives. Oh, I forgot one thing. How do you keep them sharp? Because you do not want to work with dull knives. They drive you crazy, and they're also dangerous. So there's a couple of things you can do. You can go down to Bed Bath & Beyond to get one of those kitchen type of things where you just run them through like on an angle. Those work perfectly well. I used one of those for years. My favorite is one I picked up on Amazon a year or two ago. It's called a Work Sharp. This is a mini belt sander built inside of this thing. It's a little tricky to use, but it does a much better job than the type that you just run the knife through. Now, if you just want to put a quick and dirty edge on the knife, I find the best thing is one of these little diamond hones. And you can buy these off of eBay. It's called a folding diamond hone. See the serrations there? There's diamonds impregnated into the plastic. And what you do, you maintain the angle. You have to sharpen this at an angle. You can't really see it too easily here. But you're going to go down like that and sharpen it on an angle. Then do the same thing on the other side. Okay? You're going to have to do it more than I did it. I'm just doing a demonstration of how it works. Now, this will put a knife edge on it, or an edge on it quickly. The edge is not that great an edge, so it won't last too long, but it will certainly last you for a meal. The thing when you're sharpening your own knives is you want to get a steel. You've seen these in stores or in restaurants. And what this is just a piece to knock the edges of knock the burr off the edge of the knife after it's been sharpened. What happens when these things get sharpened is it forms essentially a little saw edge. So it's the saw action that cuts through the meat. And that's what it is. It's not the sharpness of the blade, it's the saw action. But there's little burrs that form in the end. So what you want to do, holding an angle, and you don't even have to look at it, just hold the blade away from you. Don't do it like this because that's a little dangerous. Just do it 3 or 4 times and you get a nice sharp edge on your knife. You should always work with sharp knives. You want them sharp enough to cut a tomato easily, and that way you know you got a knife that's sharp. All right, this is Al Davis from CurbThoseCravings.com. Everything you've always wanted to know about knives. And please leave a comment below. Let me know what your favorite knife is. And if you had seen this video anywhere other than on CurbThoseCravings.com, head over there. There's all kinds of free goodies, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.